The $200 million mistake. The anatomy of a sporting fraud. The ghost in the database. Somewhere inside the NBA's high-security database, there is a single PDF file that shouldn't exist. It's a 12-page medical report on the projected #1 pick of the 2026 draft. To the scouts, he was a unicorn, the next LeBron. But to the insurance companies, he was a $200 million liability waiting to explode. The heart monitor beeps steadily as we look at the math. We've seen draft busts before, but we have never seen the largest corporate cover-up in sports history. This isn't just about a bad knee. It's about a $200 million scam that just blew up in everyone's face. Tonight, we track the $200 million that disappeared in an instant. Act 2. The anatomy of a $200 million dream. To understand the scale of this disaster, we have to look at the math. In 2026, the rookie scale is no longer just good money. We are talking about a $50 million signing bonus and $150 million in guaranteed earnings over the first 5 years. The prize: $50 million in liquid cash, $150 million in contract guarantees, and $100 million in potential endorsements. The scale: every inch of height and millisecond of vertical leap is now a line item on a balance sheet. The cost: when that much money is on the line, the people in the shadows start doing the math on how much of that belongs to them. The villain's incentive structure: 5 minutes before the commissioner calls your name, your agent pulls you into a hallway. No cameras, no microphones, just a whisper that changes your life forever. This is the story of how the people this player trusted the most became the villains who ensured he'd never see a cent of that dream. The agent's conflict of interest. The commission: if the player goes #1, the agent gets a 4% cut. That's $8 million. The risk: if the player drops out of the first round because of a medical flag, the agent gets nothing. The choice: truth equals $0. Deception equals $8 million. For the villain, the choice was made before the player even put on the cap. The surgical cover-up. The cover-up was surgical. It didn't happen in a back alley. It happened in high-end medical clinics. The pressure. Doctors were pressured to clear the player for his private workouts. The omission. These weren't just mistakes. They were deliberate omissions. The redaction. Documents featured blacked-out bars over words like degenerative and chronic. The lie. The agent marketed the player as the healthiest prospect in a decade, all while holding the 12-page report that said his career had a 3-year shelf life. The whistleblower. The cover-up worked for a while. The player was drafted #1. The jerseys were sold. The $200 million contract was signed. But the NBA has a nuclear option in their CBA that nobody ever uses. It's a specific clause that allows a team to void $200 million if they can prove prior knowledge of a chronic injury. The reveal. Last night, the league found the receipt. A whistleblower leaked the original, unedited PDF. The crash. The market crashed instantly. Team cap space was wiped out. The release. The player was released and is now undraftable and unsignable. The future. The nuclear option didn't just end his contract, it erased his future. The cliffhanger. But here is the terrifying reality. This isn't the first time this agent has done this. We've identified 2 other current All-Stars whose medical records look exactly like the $200 million red flag we just exposed. One of them is playing tonight. If their team finds out, the 2026 scandal is just the tip of the iceberg. The legacy of a fraud. The player today trains in an empty gym. He didn't just lose the money, he lost the opportunity. In the business of the NBA, trust is the only currency that matters. The villains gain. The agent already spent the commission, leaving the player with $0 and a broken body. Once you're the face of a $200 million fraud, you're not a player anymore. You're a warning. Every team executive now keeps a copy of that 12-page report as a reminder of what happens when you trust the wrong people. The final verdict: the NBA is currently investigating the paper trail of every player under this agent's management. This raises a question that will divide the sports world for the next decade. Who is the real victim? The player, who was used as a financial vehicle by his own agent. The franchise, whose salary cap is now a radioactive wasteland. Or the fans, who bought jerseys for a player who never truly existed. We started this journey looking at one 12-page PDF file. We saw how $200 million can evaporate when the people you trust decide that deception is worth more than the truth. But as we close the book on the 2026 medical red flag scandal, we have to realize that this isn't an isolated incident. The nuclear option has been triggered once. The precedent is set. The receipt has been found. But here is the part that should keep every NBA fan awake tonight. This agent didn't stop with one player. Our team has spent the last 72 hours cross-referencing the surgical signatures in that leaked report with the medical histories of the league's top talent. We have found two current All-Stars, household names with max contracts, whose medical skeletons are hidden behind the exact same redacted bars we saw today. If the league applies the same nuclear option to them, we aren't just looking at a draft bust. We are looking at the total collapse of 2 championship contenders. One of those players is on the floor tonight. If you found out your favorite team's superstar was part of this medical cover-up, would you want the contract voided today? Or would you keep the lie alive just to win a championship? The nuclear option is on the table. And next week, we are revealing the name of the All-Star whose contract is about to be erased. Subscribe, because the next name we reveal, it's going to break the internet. I am naming names next week. We are going to show you the side-by-side MRI scans and the paper trail that connects them back to the same high-end medical clinics. If you want to be the first to know which franchises are sitting on a $200 million time bomb, you need to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Because when this next name drops, it isn't just going to trend. It's going to change the NBA forever. Drop a comment below. Who do you think is the All-Star with the red-flagged knee? I'll be hearting the most logical theories. I'm Primetime Frontline. We follow the money, so you don't have to. See you next week.